Hey everyone, Al Fragnoli, League of Leaders, joined today with a special guest, Justin Ventline. Justin is with the Tennessee Titans, senior account executive with the Titans. Justin, thanks so much for coming on with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on and having the ability to catch up a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a while, and definitely looking forward to catching up with you and hearing a little bit more about what you're doing and all the great things that the Titans are doing. So, in your role, Justin, as a senior account executive there with the Titans, talk to us a little bit about what it is that you're doing and what you enjoy the most about your current role.
Yeah, so my main day-to-day responsibilities kind of revolves around the ticket sales world. So working with families and individuals to find a fit for their ticketing and entertainment needs. But more specifically, in my new and recent role is working with local businesses in the Middle Tennessee area to figure out entertainment aspects that the Titans can provide for them, and that they might be able to utilize to move their business needle forward. So entertaining clients, finding prospective clients, rewarding employees, all that good stuff. So it's kind of how my day to day has shifted probably in the past 2 or so years. Is previously I was working more with the families and the individuals and the super fans, for lack of better terms, to get them in the stadium and follow the 10 home games, to now working more with businesses and figuring out how they can utilize the Titans as a business tool. As far as what I enjoy the most about my current role, I mean, honestly, it's just been being part of like an NFL community and family. I've had the ability to work in other sports and other leagues, but the NFL has truly just been a huge family and community. Last week, I had a call with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they were super open and accepting of us bouncing some ideas off each other and figuring out what will work. And then also some CMU contacts. One specifically down in Atlanta. We've been talking probably pretty closely for the past year and a half now, and just kind of same thing, bouncing some ideas off of what they do, what we do, what we can kind of do better. And then kind of like on a personal level of my current responsibilities, working with businesses, is just seeing a sales process start from point A to point B. So finding a business from scratch, whether that's seeing them on a billboard, hearing a radio ad, seeing it on a social media post, finding the right connection, having them out to the stadium, finding a good fit, and then hopefully having them invest, 20, 50, $100,000 with us, and seeing that process kind of come full circle is, for me, it's super gratifying. Because yes, we're lucky enough and blessed enough to have a really good team. So we have a lot of interest, and it's easier to sell people that are interested. But to me, finding your own leads and own sales process is a little bit more gratifying that way.
Yeah, that is probably the most rewarding part of sales. I know sales can obviously be challenging and it typically has that stigma behind it, right? But I love that you mentioned going from point A to point B and really that process of really starting to work with a new client and potentially a new client as they're looking to invest some of their marketing dollars behind what they want to do. And when they choose your brand and the Tennessee Titans, that's certainly got to be very exciting and rewarding for sure. So
No, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so thank you for sharing that, Justin. You've got a ton of experience in your short time in the sports industry, probably 8 years or so, I think, right? But you've been with the Nashville Predators, the Detroit Pistons, and now, as we know, currently the Tennessee Titans. So obviously, a lot of people are always looking to get into the sports industry. We both come from Central Michigan in the sport management degree background. What are some things that you believe some people must possess if they want to be able to get into the sports industry and then ultimately stick around with it and have success?
Yeah. I think the biggest one is you just got to hustle. I know it's cliche, but you're going to, especially in the sales industry, like you're going to get out of whatever you put in. So if you're putting in minimal effort, you're going to get minimal results, compared to if you're one of the higher producers on the hustle metrics, you're probably going to be one of the higher producers on the sales board as well. It's just a simple ratio, which is pretty easy in the sales world. I was actually talking to a former professor at CMU the other day, and he always gets the comments from internships and managers and stuff like that he sends kids out to for internships, that CMU kids just have more grit than anybody else, and I think that just comes from like doing the work that no one else wants to do. Prime example, like one internship I had, I was a business operations intern, so I'd work more in the front office with the sales and marketing. But one day we had to paint the outfield baseball wall, and some interns just happened to be sick that day for whatever reason that was scheduled. So I mean, I was probably one of the first people to be like, yeah, let me run home, get some gym shorts and a t-shirt and roll up my sleeves and just kind of do the dirty work that no one else wants to do. And I wasn't doing it for the ramifications of, hey, Justin did this. Like, that's a good thing that he's doing. It was just something that I think has been instilled not only from my parents in high school, but at CMU. Is always like, do the stuff that no one else wants to do, and do it with a smile on your face, and know that you're not only gaining that experience, but you're setting yourself up, later in life as well. Um, One piece of advice I always give everybody is just being open and flexible. Graduating from CMU, I like probably 90% of the people graduating from the sports management program wanted to work for the Tigers, the Red Wings, the Lions, like one of the hometown teams. So when that quickly did not happen, I had to be pretty open and flexible to moving and gaining experience. So when I moved to Nashville initially in 2015, in my thoughts and in my plan was to come down here, gain 2 or 3 years of experience, move back, and then live the lifestyle I had initially thought of. And come to find out, we moved down here. We're down here for 3 years. Had an opportunity to move back with the Pistons, and just missed Nashville so much that we actually moved back. So you never really know what's going to happen until you kind of push yourself outside those doors and are flexible and open to at least moving locations as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree a lot with what you said there, and thank you for sharing that, Justin. But so true that you got to be open to new ideas and flexible to move. That's obviously a big thing in the sports industry. And then I love that you mentioned just grit and hustle. Like, it seems so simple, but if you don't put in the quality hard work and want to grind it out day in, day out, you're probably not going to have a lot of success in the sports industry. You're not going to have the ability to move up or anything like that. And it's fantastic that you learned that from your upbringing. My father was the same way. He always told me that you better always be the hardest worker in the room and not the smartest person, though. So I love that he always said that. But it sounds like you were brought up very similar to that. And you can't really teach hard work. Yeah, obviously you got it or you don't. So,
Exactly.
but that is a big thing for sure in the sports industry. And you mentioned hustle again. For anybody who wants a great podcast to listen to, 52 Weeks of Hustle by Travis Apple. He was with the Pittsburgh Pirates for a long time and has been very successful in the sports industry. Another good podcast. That just came to my mind, Justin, as you mentioned hustle. So love it. So you've been surrounded by tons of different leaders in your time in the sports industry. I always love talking about leadership. It's very passionate about it. Leaders have the ability to make or break people's career, right? If you're around poor leadership, a lot of times it makes your job a lot more difficult. When you're around great leaders, you love going to work every day. So why don't you talk about some of the characteristics, some of the traits that you think make up some of the best leaders out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I've been able to be surrounded by 3, 4, 5 different managers and leaders in my time as a full-time rep in this industry. The 3 things that kind of come to mind for me is just being genuine. Like, I want you to sugarcoat to me like how good I am or how bad I am. Like, I want you to be open and I want you to be genuine. Like, I'm also a person that like wants constructive criticism. So I don't want you to just come in here and tell me how great I am every single day. Like, I want you to be able to tell me, yes, here's your strengths, but also here's your weaknesses, and here's where you can get if you kind of work and grow on these type of things. Another one that I always try to use as well, just being like a more senior level rep, and doing some coaching on the side, is I try to lead by example. So if we're expected to make X amount of calls, or go out and do X amount of appointments, like I feel like I'm gonna try to do that just as much as everybody else is. And same thing, as a leader. Some of the best managers I've had have given me realistic goals and expectations to things that they have done in the past, compared to just making up a number and saying, all right, you need to hit this, even though that individual has never done that in their career as well. So just kind of looking through that track record of like some of the best leaders and motivators I've had have just been genuine, given me constructive criticism, and led by example of stuff that they have done in their past, and expect of me to kind of grow my career. Another thing that kind of comes to mind is like when I was first starting out in this industry, if I had like the management style and the stuff I'm looking for now, then I probably would have quit and got out of the industry. I think at like different points of your career and your progression into whatever path you're going, you need to be led by a different way and a different kind of audience as well. So just knowing your audience of, hey, this kid that's 23, just came from Michigan, is living in Nashville, knows absolutely nobody. So being able to kind of harness that and put it towards work, to where now I have a son and a wife, and I'm settling down, creating a career, creating a life, and kind of being able to point me in the direction of, all right, what's my next 5-10 year goals, rather than 3-month, 6-month, 1-year goals.
Justin, love some of the stuff you shared right there. You mentioned being genuine. I think that, again, that's such a simple thing that gets overlooked so many times, right? I mean, leaders have to be genuine, humble individuals. They got to show that they care about their people. Because if you don't care about your people, people don't give a crap about what else
Right.
right? So I love that you mentioned being genuine, lead by example. I mean, in creating realistic goals. If somebody tells you to make 150 phone calls a day, but they've never done it in the past, I mean, not very realistic. So
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that. You talked about constructive criticism too. You know, as individuals, as human beings, sometimes it can be tough for us to be vulnerable and really open up. But I think that it's so critically important. If you want to grow and continue to develop your skills, you have to be open to that constructive criticism. So I love that you mentioned that. Knowing your audience too, when you talked about that at the end there, it's so important to really know your audience, because you're going to coach and lead somebody a little bit different if they're fresh out of college as compared to, the married individual who's been working for 10 and 15 years in the industry. So some fantastic stuff. Thank you for sharing that. Justin. To wrap it up here, want to talk a little bit about Central Michigan. Love talking about Central Michigan, fire up chips, right? So how did CMU help prepare you for life outside of college when you got your degree?
Yeah, I think it really pushed me outside my comfort zone. So originally, high school, I went to a super small high school, small town, graduated with less than 50 people, and then got thrown into Central Michigan, where it's the third largest university in the state. So it pushed me out of my comfort zone, just in the fact of like, all right, I'm going to have to go talk to someone that I have no idea who they are. And I'm going to have to develop a relationship and kind of grow my boundaries and grow my aspirations. The sports management program in specifics like gave me the opportunity to travel as well. So like outside of Florida and New York for high school trips, like I'd never been outside of Michigan. And then with the sports management program, I was able to go to Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, like just for different sports conferences, and kind of growing my network. Opened a door for a lot of cool experiences as well. So I was able to work a lot of cool events, was on as an intern for CMU athletics. So I was able to kind of see the behind the scenes of how a football game operates, a basketball game operates, a baseball, like how as a fan, you don't realize all the moving parts that are going on, whether it's in the press box, pushing the right button for the right sound effect, or like making something pop up on the scoreboard. You just kind of don't really realize a lot of that. And then I kind of alluded to it earlier, but it just helped me grow a network of professional individuals. So like I know people that went to CMU that I'm acquaintances with that live and work on the West Coast, that live and work on the East Coast. They're with, you know, the NFL, the MLB, the MLS, sports authorities. Like it just, your network just grew so fast and so rapidly if you were open to it. Now I had some like roommates and colleagues that just wanted to go there, wanted to go to school, and wanted to go to the cabin on Friday nights. And that's totally fine. And they got out of what they put into it, just kind of like sales. So it's kind of all up to the individual when you're kind of coming out of that program.
Absolutely, Justin. You get what you put into it. So if you want to go to the cabin, that's what you're going to get. So, but I love it. The sport management program is certainly fantastic at Central Michigan. The university is great. The leadership, the administration, professors there that we had the privilege of having lead us are fantastic. You mentioned a lot of the networking opportunities and, you know, really pushing your boundaries to open up and travel a little bit, go to conferences and other variety of other events. Really was fantastic. It was that out of the classroom experience that really helped as well. So fantastic stuff, Justin. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to talk with us here on Legal Leaders. Certainly appreciate it. You've provided a lot of great insight, and we absolutely love catching up with you. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Al.